Everything is yoga. Karma yoga is selfless action. Raja yoga is controlling your mind and controlling yourself and understanding. Jnana yoga is knowledge. No one can mess with you if you understand things. Anything that you do with all of your purpose is yoga. Because what yoga means is yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of your mind. So yoga is being in the zone, being in the present moment, and being with what is without all the conversations we have in our minds.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our community. And like always, I seem to be always excited for these conversations, but you know what? I really am. I love meeting new people, having interesting conversations. I know our community, especially our community that's involved with health and wellness and biohacking, you're going to love this conversation. I also know that our money people, our crypto, our finance, our entrepreneurs are going to love this because it's a lot of coaching and mindset and health, all the stuff that most of us love to hear about. But before we get started, so you don't miss any of these great conversations, I want you to hit that subscribe button, as well as there's a little bell down there. If you click that as well, you won't miss any of these episodes as they come out. And you're not going to want to miss this. So I'm so happy you're here. You're going to meet Johanna Godinez. And I'm going to read your intro real quick. Johanna is a founder of Life and Style Coaches. Johanna offers an innovative and refreshing approach to coaching and personal transformation. According to Johanna, you can achieve your dreams by aligning your life with your inner values. As a designated wellness professional, certified yoga instructor, and MBA, Johanna supports you in the ability to influence any area in your life in order to make your ultimate vision come to reality. Johanna Godinez, welcome to our community.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited because I know that you have a broad audience, and I'm hoping that I can give everyone a little something today.
I know they're going to love you. We'll start with your story. I want to get to I want them to get a takeaway. I love when the community can listen and say, you know what, I can take this with me into my life. So I know they're going to walk away when we start talking about how you map people for success. But before we get to that, I want them to know you. And I want to, let's just start off with your story, because I have some questions about your story as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're so passionate about helping people, and how you got to where you are today.
I guess I've been an entrepreneur for life because I started my first business selling candy when I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old. And my dad has always really supported my curious side. So there was really nothing that I could never do. It was always like, can you though? And that led me to understand that it's more about us deciding whether we are or we're not versus like the ability or possibility of us doing or not doing. So let's start by saying that not everyone can have the perspective that I have. And I understand that. And that's part of why I do what I do, is because for me, it's really empowering that all of my life, I've basically done what I wanted to do. Like, if you ask me if I'll ever retire, I would say I retired the day I graduated school. That's when I retired, because that's when I started looking for my dreams, looking for what filled me, looking for my passion. And it's been rocky along the way. When I finished my MBA, it was 2007, the very end of 2007. I was living in North Carolina. I was racing cars at the time and had a scholarship or a sponsorship for the year after for a Drive for Diversity program. And it was from a mortgage company. So that fell apart in 2008.
Yeah, I'm not going to let that slide. So let's rewind back. Race car driver. You did throw that in. I was listening to a podcast you did yesterday, and you skimmed through that. And I was like, I couldn't rewind. Did you say race car driver? So let's talk about that. Because you're high speed. And the thing is, you're this yoga master and you teach. So the reason I want to hit on that is because you are energy. You're a go-getter, but you're balanced in this life and this philosophy of this yoga philosophy. So we're going to get to that in a minute. So there's a reason why I'm asking about race car driving and the entrepreneur within, because you don't approach, I've had yoga people talk to them pretty zen, type of thing going on there, but you're a driver. So let's talk about driving race cars.
Well, I mean, You could say that's the yang to my yin. But you know, most varies. God, I don't want to stereotype because I'd be stereotyping myself. But um, doing yoga has nothing to do with what someone can see outside. In fact, most people that do yoga don't ever roll out their mats. And the reason why that's important to understand is because in the West, we have been convinced that hatha yoga, which is the physical aspect of yoga, which is the balancing of the strength and the ease and finding that flow, we've been told that that's yoga. When in fact, Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yogi, Jnana Yoga, Tantra Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, there's so many other types of yoga, and some of them have nothing to do with a yoga mat. Karma Yoga is selfless action. Raja Yoga is controlling your mind and controlling yourself and understanding. Jnana Yoga is knowledge. No one can mess with you if you understand things. And Bhakti Yoga is devotion, is having faith. And anything that you do with all of your purpose is yoga. Because what yoga means is yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of your mind. So yoga is being in the zone, being in the present moment, and being with what is without all the conversations we have in our minds. Like people often ask me, how do you meditate? And the thing about meditation is it has nothing to do with the how. It has to do with the why and the what. What are you trying to accomplish and why are you trying to doing it? The how is actually beside the point, because you can sit down, you can walk, you can swim, you can ride your lawnmower, you can color, you can paint, you can listen to music, you can create music. What is it that gets you so focused in the moment that time doesn't exist, other people don't exist, something that you had to do didn't happen? That's yoga. Yoga is being so involved with life and with what's happening in life that the bad and the good don't really affect as much, because it's just the happening that's the cool part of life, right? That has to do with our ego, but we won't get into that at the moment. But going back into racing, so in order for you to be a really amazing race car driver, we're talking tenths of a second, sometimes hundredths of a second between. I mean, I raced on a grid where the first 10 places were within like 8/10 of a second away from each other. 8/10 of a second, 10 people. That's about as close in racing as you can get, right? You need to understand how to work your mind and your body and how to combine it in order to be able to focus and react the way that you need to, so that the tenths of a second count, right? So in order to do that, you need to know how to work your right and your left brain. You need to know what exercises to do. You need to know like different methodologies that are going to help you combine everything. So for me, like even now, I still coach in racing. All summer, I'll be in Florida working with a racing school because I freaking love it. I can really turn what I do in focusing your mind, and I can train these drivers to basically not focus on the mistakes that they make, focus on their own performance versus a competitor's performance, be able to be so keen in what they're doing in their lap that the second somebody up makes a mistake, they can go in there and they can take that spot. Everything is yoga. I put them in, I make them racing, I make that be their yoga. So when people ask me why B.A.Y Lifestyle, so Life and Style Coaches was my first company. And then Beyond Asana Yoga was a yoga school that I created for the B.A.Y clubs in California. And they didn't want to implement it, so I did. But in order to combine it, my coaching company is now called B.A.Y Lifestyle. But B.A.Y Lifestyle just means Beyond Asana Yoga Lifestyle. Like, how do I live a yoga lifestyle beyond the mat, even if I never step on that yoga mat?
Wow. Yeah, I'm so happy we started this way, because we got to where I wanted to be. Okay, where I wanted to be was I wanted people out there to realize that what they thought was yoga, what I thought was yoga. I got to yoga. I was doing CrossFit for 8 years, so I was destroying myself. That's how I live my life, just grind it out. And then I finally go to yoga, and it's the opposite. I'm in there, and they're like, "Hey, hot yoga, 6 a.m." They're like, "Hey, if you'd like us to spray lavender, just place your hand on your heart." I'm like, "Yeah, I want lavender on my heart. Like, this place is awesome. Everybody's so nice in here." But it's the only exposure that I have with this nice place. You take and it's such a small window we get to see what yoga is. So you've been living this, really been living this. I wonder when you even started realizing it was yoga, but even back when you were racing cars at 17, I want people to realize that what you're able to do is help people, coach people, and really use the thousands, 5,000 years of yoga principles that you're saying, not just what we think it is. Let's face it this way. Forget what you think it is. I'm going to forget what yoga is, and I want to listen to what you have to say, because you're saying there's only an element, small element, that requires stretching on a mat, right? All the rest is the lifestyle, is success, teaching principles and philosophies that you've been able to pull out and be able to coach people with. So let's, in the story, let's get back to how yoga comes into your life, and then let's get to how you're applying these other elements of yoga that most of us have never even heard before, and you're changing people's lives every day. I'm looking at, all of the feedback that I get on all of the reviews that you have. You are making a major difference in the world, and especially with children. And we'll get to that in your nonprofit. So this is a big deal. So I want people to understand where you took this philosophy and principles of yoga and how you've been able to apply it into modern day society. But how'd you get into this in the first place?
Through depression. I went through a really bad depression after I finished my MBA. I was living in North Carolina, and in 2008, when the economy went to crap, not only did I get my scholarship taken away for racing, but they had closed down a bunch of textile industries down there. So people that had the same level of education that I did, but had 20 years, 15 years, 30 years in their companies, were looking for the same positions that I was. So 32 interviews later and getting all of this rejection, like, put me in a space where, like, my mind started to really play tricks on me. You know what I'm saying? Telling me that I wasn't good enough, that, I've never worked for a company. There's no way I'll ever be able to do that. Like, I don't have the experience. They're never going to want to hire me. But then I started going into me attacking myself personally because of it, right? Because then I started feeling like and it got pretty bad. And a friend of mine came over and was like, "Girl, you should get some help." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe I don't think I can do this anymore." So I went to a therapist, and right away they want to give you drugs. And I was like, I was like, I don't do the pill thing. I don't even take Tylenol when I have a headache. So it's not going to happen. So they said, "Okay, so go work out." And I didn't really understand what that meant. So I looked into it, and I realized that working out really helps your brain chemistry. It shifts your endorphins. It helps with your dopamine and your serotonin shift and how you absorb it. And it helps with a bunch of other things in your body because it gives you more energy. It helps your metabolism. It even helps your thyroid and other hormones that you wouldn't even think of, right? So I was like, shit, I want to learn about this.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to this place in South Carolina called the Hilton Head Health Institute. Plug that in there. And that place changed my life because they had psychologists. They helped me quit smoking. I was 25. I quit smoking. It was amazing. And I came out of there, and fitness was a part of my life full on. But much like other people, I found yoga because of the physical practice, right? I was a dancer. I was a gymnast. All of these movements felt amazing in my body. They were already in my body. Like, I didn't have to struggle to touch my toes or to do the splits and to do all these amazing things. In fact, they helped me get back into handstands and back bends, and I got to really play. But then I realized, I'm using that. Well, it was actually my teacher. who said, Johanna, you do all these things and you do yoga, but you're not a yoga teacher, but you're in the health. Once I got into the health industry, he was like, why aren't you sharing this? And that's really when I started getting deeper. So it went 2008 is when I found fitness. 2011, October 2011 is when I got certified as a yoga teacher. That's from 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 years of practicing yoga, not understanding one iota of what yoga was beyond what I was experiencing on the mat, which was just feeling amazing. And right? All ego. Like it felt good, but really it was all ego because my God, like I could just be in my essence, And once I got the teacher training, I was like, OMG, I know nothing of yoga, nothing. And that's when I actually started learning.
That's what I was trying to say. Like, I would go to class and like and they say wonderful things from the front. And I'm a chiropractor and it kind of makes sense. And energetically, I'm all in. And then you leave. Like that's whatever they said was kind of wooey and all right, whatever. I'm into the voodoo. I'm out. And then you come back and it's cool. But what you're saying is to become an instructor, you have to know that stuff, like whatever and you don't get that just by going to class. I guess that's why a lot of yoga schools have instruction programs. Is this why to learn more about yoga or to turn out more teachers?
So
we're getting into the politics of yoga.
The thing is, like, I have very personal opinions about all of this. Okay. Like, I believe that yoga teachers should have to take 200 hours and then decide whether or not they actually want to be yoga teachers. And then they should have to take another 300 hours to actually become teachers. So I believe that they first need to be taught really what yoga is. And the problem is that most programs out there don't teach. Like the reason why my school is called Beyond Asana Yoga is because most teachers don't learn much beyond the asana. Like I'm currently doing a teacher training. It starts June 3rd in Homestead, Florida, because part of what I do is I combine with studios that don't have their own programs, and I bring in my program. They pay me 50%. We do it at their studio with their students, and they now have a bunch of extra money because it's hard for yoga studios to make 10 grand, 15 grand in one sitting. It just doesn't work that way. So that's part of what I do. So with the studio in Homestead, I'm doing that. And when he looked through the curriculum, he was like, I don't understand half this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, don't worry. I'm like, you'll be a student too. I'll make sure that whatever you're teaching, that I teach you before you go teach it. So like to my like stamp of approval on what I was doing, it's like, this guy owns his own studio. Right. And even he's missing some of the information. So really like where my message is, my whole coaching program and the way that I do the life mapping, what I'm attempting to do, again, yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of your mind. So what I do is I get into your head, you show me your whole life and how you got to this point and why you're living and how you're living. And when I say your whole life, I'm talking the nitty gritty. Not because I want to rehash your past, because I don't give a shit about your past, but who you are today is directly correlated to who you have been and what choices you've made. So I need to understand what got you to this place and who you are and how you show up in life in order for me to be able to figure out what tools you need to incorporate to move you forward. Because most coaches pretend to change people, or you need to somehow fit yourself into what I'm doing. And I found very quickly, yoga teaches you very quickly that that's just not real. Everyone is different and everyone has a different way of operating. So in order for you to understand how to upgrade someone's operating system, you need to understand what their operating system is to begin with. So this life mapping method that I developed, all it's attempting to do is figure out where are your fluctuations and why is your mind fluctuating? Where do you want to be? And is that really going to bring you joy? Or is it just another ego thing? And then I help you kind of understand life at a deeper level. Like I give you the little matrix pill and then I break it down for you so that it's easier for you to understand yourself and then be patient with yourself as you start making changes.
So let's be clear now. What we're talking about is your coaching program, right? And your approach is, and then there's life coaches out there, and there's coaching programs out there. But your foundation is in the principles of yoga. So no, it's like not that people are making stuff up. Everybody's a coach these days, right? But like you're working with tried and true philosophy and principles of yoga, and they've worked for your life, and you're seeing it happen in other people's lives. So tell me, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't plan on taking a yoga class, but I'm listening to this conversation, and I'm interested because there's some blocks in my life, or I've gotten to a point in my life where I say that my best thinking has gotten me here, right? And wherever I'm at is where I'm at, right? And maybe you're happy, maybe you're not happy, maybe there's more to your life, and you just don't know how to get beyond that. And I think that's where a lot of people are at. And so say that's your typical, is that your typical client? Say it's me, I know, or a friend. I'm asking for a friend, right? So you show up. So what is the process at that point? What are some of the common things that that clients are coming to you with? Is there common issues? Are they all over the place, or does it tend to be some common themes or common stuck things? And just could you tell us a little bit how you approach it and maybe some of the results you've gotten?
Oh, I love this question because there's always a common theme to why they show up. The truth of why they show up is always all over the map, because you think you have a problem, but usually what you're tired of is the symptom that you're experiencing from that problem. So when you come to me, you're tired of the symptom. So for example, I've been overeating, overstressed, and now I've gained weight. So you come to me because you want to change your eating habits. Okay, but your eating habits are due to your emotional state because of your stress. So unless we figure out what's causing the stress and the emotional stuff, me attempting to fix your eating is just not realistic because I'm not taking what's causing it away. So and I'm not going to say all coaching programs, right? But most of what helps you with me happens in the first 2 days. 2 days.
Wow.
And I know that sounds crazy, but the life mapping process is such, like, philosophers have based their whole lives attempting to figure out what they meant by know thyself. What I'm attempting to do in 2 days is help you do that. How do you understand yourself better so that you stop beating yourself up, so that you stop blocking yourself? Because in the end, most of what I do is I make you take responsibility for the stuff that you're doing, because it's all you. Nothing's happening to you. And the thing is, for example, I had a client that came to me because he's been married for 38 years. And the past year, he and his wife have been having some issues because when his business, he owns 3 restaurants. One of the restaurants since COVID hasn't really been able to kind of hit it off. And anytime there's a big issue with that restaurant, he basically takes that energy home and is taking it out on his wife. So basically his wife is the one that wanted him to work with me. So he comes with me with this problem, right? That we're attempting to work on his relationship. So in my head, I'm already thinking, okay, we need to see if he needs a mediator or a relationship psychologist or just a therapist, or maybe I can just talk to them and they can talk to each other and I can just be a middle person. I need to see how deep this can go, right? Based on what he says. After 7 hours of us speaking, his problem is alcohol. He's drinking too much. And what happens is when he drinks too much, he makes the smaller issues a lot bigger in his head. And when his wife comes in, he doesn't have the ability to manage the emotions that he's giving himself and is taking it out on her, not even really realizing how he's reacting because he's numb.
Right.
So what we're dealing with has nothing to do with his relationship. It has to do with him eating better, cutting down the alcohol, drinking more water, being more mindful of the thoughts. And the thing is, what I want to do for people is cause them true transformation. So a lot of what I do, I put into place and then I step away and other people are getting paid. I'm not getting paid anymore. But I don't care Because my thing is, I need to set you up with what you need, and I need you to understand that you need to be realistic. For example, if you just got divorced and your wife has always cooked and you have never cooked, is it realistic for me? Like, you need to buy all kinds of things and you need to learn how to cook and you're going to start cooking for yourself. No, it's much easier for me. Like, dude, you need a meal prepper and you need them to figure it out, and you need them to come 2 days a week, and you need them to bring all your meals. You need to buy these amount of snacks to have in your office and these amount of protein shakes to have on the go. That is going to be how you can solve that issue. Not me being like, cook healthy meals for yourself. That's not realistic. Like, but if that's my train of thought on like people need to cook healthy and eat healthy, my thing is, I don't judge you. I've had the dominatrix and the guy that hires the dominatrix. I've had the person that's been abused, and I've had the abuser. Like, I've seen you, and I see you, and I don't care what you've done. I don't give a shit what you've done. What I care about is that you're ready to take a step to be somebody else. And I had to become somebody else because I've done some fucked up things in my life when I was younger. And sorry if this is a family friendly and I'm dropping F-bombs, but I get passionate and that's what happens. But I'm not that person anymore. Why? Because I educated myself, I changed my conditioning, and I'm changing the way that my DNA is expressing and how I'm showing up in the world. How? By elevating my state of mind, my knowledge, and my vibration.
Yes.
And I can help people do that because we are the ones that get in our way by thinking that our problems are actually ours when they're not. We don't have any problems. Things are just happening and we're having to manage them. Our job is the manager of things. Our job is not the one that has to carry them or be responsible for them. Yeah, when you make a boo-boo, you say, I'm sorry, you take responsibility, and then you say, okay, how can I fix this? Because that's the only way to move forward in a way where you're flowing with things that are happening. You're learning your lessons, you're fixing your lessons, you're learning your lessons, you're looking at yourself. What part did I have to play in this? So what I do is basically I help people get out of their own way. And sometimes you can't. So a big part of what I do is you sign a big contract that says that what you will achieve is 100% up to you. I can't do a thing. Right. All I can do is present to you all of the information, help you understand yourself, give you all of the tools that you need to move forward to learn more about yourself and to condition yourself differently. But unless you open the emails, watch the videos, call the people that I'm sending your way, eat the food that they're sending you, and do everything, there's nothing I can do. So the main thing that I do is support people in actually taking that responsibility. And I give them the tools. So like if you need the relationship psychologist, the personal trainer, the meal prepper, that's my responsibility, is to find the right people, vet them, and then present them to you. But then you need to call them and make sure that it's going to work out and then get the schedule going, right? I can't do that for you because I'm not your secretary. I'm just your tool to help elevate you, right? So it's a really interesting give and take because as a yoga teacher, I am all love, but in a way where like I'm very nurturing. Whereas as a coach, I'm more like a stern nun with a rule in my hand. Like,
yeah, that's what a coach does. Brings out the best in someone, right? And and it's such a great combination between being the teacher and being the coach, and when to wear the hats at the right time. I'm thinking as I'm listening to this and some of the prep work I've done, you do mention a lot about energy. So people coming and responsibility, right? And maybe taking responsibility for our vibration, right? Or realizing that. So could you just kind of, maybe someone has not heard this as we kind of wrap up the conversation, I want people to realize that we have a frequency, and we have control over our thoughts and our actions, or at least the way we look at our thoughts and actions. So just kind of piece that together, because I want people to understand that we have a level of control, right? Many of us are always in autopilot, and that's probably the problem. But for us to just take a little bit of accountability for our frequency and how we're allowing things to affect our thinking. And and realizing that we have some control over that. And I think that's part of your process. So I think leaving this conversation knowing there's some hope and that we're not necessarily automatically reacting to things all the time, but we have the ability to think and pause and just kind of think things through. So could you maybe speak to that a little bit for those of us that may be a little more impulsive or more reactionary or have been up to this point? I'd like to shed a little bit of hope for people like that.
So the answer to that is meditation. And meditation is not what most people think it is, just like yoga. So meditation is an aspect of yoga. But meditation is the skill of becoming aware or the observer of your energy and your thoughts. So you can't deny when someone cuts you off and you have to hit the brakes and you almost get in a car accident that you don't feel your energy shift. You literally, my stomach dropped. Oh my God, I couldn't stop shaking. You can't deny that your energy because you have felt it. Even if you just shake your hands really fast, and then close your eyes and feel it, you can feel the vibration. And then go a step further. When you do close your eyes and you eliminate the fact that you can see your skin and see your edges, you can't feel them. Because the only reason why you can see something is because of its vibration and the way that your brain processes the light and what it's seeing. But in the end, if you close your eyes and you take away the light and you just become vibration, it's really hard to figure out where the vibration of you ends and the vibration of everything around you begins, because it doesn't work that way. Nothing ends and begins. Everything just is working together, touching each other, being in each other's energy fields. So understanding that we have control of our vibration means meditation is your ability to be doing a task and watching the thoughts that are coming without having a conversation with them. So I'm glad you said that we have a level of control. Yes, a level, not full. Why? Because you don't choose the first thought that comes to your mind. What you choose is to have or not have a conversation. And if you feel like you cannot choose, then you've given away your power and you are completely acting on autopilot and unconsciously all the time. Yes, that's true. So it takes you becoming aware, like especially in the car, the easiest place to start becoming aware of like the crazy conversations you have. Like if you have a long drive, just begin to notice like all the times you start being like about things that are happening, about a conversation that you had, about something you need to do later, and just start to become aware of the pattern that those conversations take. Because what you'll notice is that they tend to stem from the same places. And that is where the awareness comes in. So it doesn't mean that everything is just going to be fine and dandy. For example, as we mentioned, I'm a race car driver. I like to go fast. You cut me off in the middle of the road and I can promise you that you're going to get a little road rage. But you know what the difference is? That it doesn't shift my emotions. I don't think about it afterwards. I don't stay mad at the guy. I do what I got to do and I keep going and I'm good. See, so it's not that I'm changing myself as a person. What I'm changing is the fact that my energy is not being affected by what other people do. What does that do? It keeps your power. Because anytime that somebody does something and you like, boom, react, and then you're like, ooh, man, I didn't think that through. You just gave away your power. You just unleashed a bunch of reactionary things that are now going to happen due to that moment where you didn't give yourself that one split second to think. And again, it's not that this is going to always happen, because even now I catch myself being like, man, I needed to give that a day before I sent that email because that was a little rough around the edges, right? It's not that we're perfect, but right after I sent the email, I was like, shoot. And I became aware. And then I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm just going to remember next time I have to send an email that I need to take a breath.
Right.
And that's the process of it, because the thing is, first we become aware and then we start beating ourselves up because then we're like, oh my God, I do this. Oh my God, I do that. Oh my God, I do that. And but we can't do that. Like there has to be awareness and then like let it sink in and be like, yeah, man, I do that. Good. I'm actually glad. I'm grateful that I'm actually becoming aware of this. Oh, there I go again. Oh, cool. I'm grateful, because in our brain, the way it works is you have like neurons, right, that travel through neurological pathways. And anytime that you have what we call like a superconductor of energy, where your thoughts are always going in that direction, which is usually like repeating conversations, I should have said this, beating yourself up, whatever pattern you have, that highway is open and it is wide. So it takes a lot of awareness to start. Nope, I want to move this way. Oh no, okay, I'm going to move it this way again. Oh, I'm going to move it this way again. For then to start the shift where things start to only once in a while going that way and more often going this way. And that's a process.
Yeah.
And it's not 21 days.
And I think everyone's experienced that on some level, maybe not intentionally, but it's happened, right? So, I think we've accomplished what we set out to do. But I wanted to set out and have a conversation that wasn't all about yoga, or wasn't all about being an entrepreneur, or wasn't all about coaching, but it was a conversation about life and about everything. We got to discuss, the story of the restaurant owner, and just, kind of typically, and even having this discussion of being aware of our thoughts, and being okay with not being perfect on how we react, or, the wrong way, and being conscious. And I think that, even the preparation for this conversation, I was feeling much better about myself, knowing that we were going to have this conversation, first of all, let alone afterwards, right? So like we could talk forever. And I hope people get that from this conversation, that that you have something very unique. I've never seen it before. I've been in chiropractor for 25 years. I've sent people to yoga. I've gone to yoga. I've never had these kind of conversations before. I've spoken to entrepreneurs and coaches and all that, but never really put it together in such a practical way. So I was excited for this conversation because I wanted to share you with our community. And more important, I want to make sure that they know how to stay in touch with you. So how do we stay connected? I mean, all of these links that you're about to say will be below. I've got your website from B.A.Y Lifestyle, but what else? What other ways? And is there, I know you've got some podcasts out there, but what are the best ways for people to stay connected with you, in touch with you, if they had to ask any questions?
Oh, well, if you have a question, you can call me. My number is 815-501-5070. If I don't answer, I promise my mailbox is not full. You can leave me a message. And you can contact me on social media at Bay_Life or on my website, bay-lifestyle.com. And then also for all you crypto NFT lovers out there, I'm building a yoga retreat center in Puerto Rico, and I have an NFT that is good for, it's basically like a timeshare down here. So you'll have 2 weeks from 2005 to 2025 to 2030, where you'll be able to come every year for 2 weeks and get pampered, get taken on retreats. And again, because NFTs are transferable, that you can do it, and then your family can do it, and then anyone you want can do it. So for those 5 years, anybody you want and yourself can enjoy it. It's for 2 people, but you can have anyone else come for 50% off. My goal with this center is that I want to be able to pay it off completely, not owe it to anyone, because if anyone needs to come here and wants to learn more about yoga, and let's say they're from like Nigeria or a place where they don't have a high income and they want to come out, I want to be able to say, get your ass out here, I'll feed you and I'll teach you yoga, and then you go share this with your community. Like that's my main thing. So I work with really high level entrepreneurs so that I can help everybody else. So my high level entrepreneurs basically pay for me to go to jail and help people in jail. Nice. And help kids with my 501c3 and whatever else needs to happen. And I'm very, very blessed that I got to build things that way. And I'm grateful for all my clients, because I help them, but they don't see how them paying me to help them helps so many other people, because it's what pays for you and I to be able to do this right now.
Right. I'm so happy that you got so depressed when you went to 32 interviews, because the world is so much more better off than. Can
you imagine if I was in an office behind a desk somewhere?
I don't think you'd be alive. You would have exploded by now, or you would have gotten this. Well, I don't think what's happening now was ever not going to happen. And it's just, and I think the universe, I choose to call God, did not allow you to succeed until you were 100% in flow with what your purpose is, and that's educating and inspiring and connecting. And so it's just so fun to be connected with you. And
That hit a nerve, man. The fact that, oh, yes, in flow, you picked such a beautiful way to say it. Thank you.
It's so true. And I think that you are a gift to the world, and what you're doing now, and honestly, what you're going to continue to do will be incredible to be stay connected and watch what you do. So I want people to, I'm going to get all those links from you. They will be below, and stay in touch. Look forward to hearing what happens next. And I know we've connected with some friends, so it looks like we may be keeping this going at some point and helping.
I have a feeling we're going to run into each other more than we know.
Absolutely. All right, Johanna, thank you so much for being part of our community, and we hope to have you back. I mean, it'd be great. I think we just hit just the tip of the iceberg in this conversation.
Yeah, anytime that I can be of service. And if anyone in your community has any questions or any topics that they want to dive into, they can even let you know, and then you can contact me and we can talk for another half hour, 40 minutes about anything, because that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon. Have a great night. Bye.
Have a great night. Thanks for having me.